If you have been training for a while now, you probably know that resting is just as important as training hard. Because if you rest and recover, your body therefore recovers and therefore grows. Now, I have been doing a little experience of mine, and it is increasing my bedtime, which by the way means not directly the amount of sleep I get, because bedtime is just how much you stay in bed, and 80% of that is just sleep if you don't know. But technically, I've increased my bedtime to 9 hours, and therefore, I now try to figure out, does it improve my recovery or not? Do I get bigger, or is just the fact that training harder is just the main key to grow? I'm Timo, and on this channel, I'm giving training advice to young people, and I'm also telling stories of mine and my experiences and everything. So I remember I started to increase, to be honest, I didn't really thought about sleep at much until I was like 16, 17, right? Yeah, 16, 17, that's where I kind of thought, okay, sleeping and resting is actually important, and it is like you need to sleep more. You need to sleep like at least or have like at least a bedtime of 8 hours, because then your body sleeps at least like around 6.5, maybe 7 if you have like higher percentage of sleep efficiency. There it is. And I remember I used to take like these little hacks that's supposed to help me sleep well better, like maybe putting the phone on like orange mode, or like until like 5 p.m. Then the screen starts, this phone screen I'm recording now then starts to get like orange, and it's like less blue, and then starting to read 1 hour before I'm going to bed and everything. And it did actually improve how much I slept. Of course, that was like around I remember the last day, 2022, so 31st December 2023, I started to get my very first book, and then started reading it pretty much maybe a minimum half hour before I sleep. And it does actually improve my sleep, because therefore I fall asleep faster. And yeah, technically I was able to increase that to around 9 hours. I could have gotten more, but I think that was probably that would probably be a bit harder to do. So I did it to 9 hours. And the simple thing I want to tell you is just, first of all, the only things you will notice is you'll have, you might be like a bit more sleepy in the morning because of the extra required rest you get, and that the feeling of like you wanting more, but overall you feel just more awake in the day, and you have, I would say it does kind of impact the recovery, but maybe, but it doesn't like, the difference is there, but not like a huge amount, you know what I mean? So the simple advice on this one is just go ahead and try to increase your bedtime, which in the simple way I did it is just, it's like basic advice, but like if you want to know how to increase the bedtime and maybe increase your chance of get higher sleep, is just go to your phone or your PC, whatever type of device you use, turn on the option where it's like orange orange screen or whatever, like when you know the option was like night shift, there it is, and then you put the settings of like from 5 p.m. it starts turning night shift, and then it stays on like that till 9 a.m. That's the options I use. And then the rest, and then you technically stop. You then need to stop using your devices for at least 1 hour before going to bed, which I know can be quite difficult and not very uh like, of course you might have some days where you're not consistent at it. I am the example of this. I was yesterday I was up till like 11 something p.m. So having some nights where you stay up a lot longer can happen. That's kind of normal. But if you keep going with habits like this, where you just turn on the night shift from 5 p.m. and then where it starts at 5 p.m. and it ends at 9 p.m. and then you read 1 hour before going to bed. And here's the interesting part. It can be any type of book you could be interested in. You can use a Kindle or whatever if you want, but I usually prefer physical books. And here's again, it doesn't need to be like specific self-improvement books or anything. It can be like anything that you find interesting and just maybe you can just read. And yeah, but in best ways it's literally just a physical book, because it's not like something from a screen, because then there's like still light that could mess up with your eyes, and then therefore it could be harder to sleep, you know. This the advice. And yeah, the simple answer with this one is increasing my bedtime to 9 hours does improve the rest, even though it might not be as much, but it can still be worth it. I don't know if the words were right in this one, but either way, you have to sleep more. If you only have like a bedtime of like 7 hours, and you say you sleep for 7 hours, divide that, take like 20% of the bedtime you have away, and then you probably sleep more like 5.5 hours or something. But yeah, that's the advice I'm giving you here. I hope you got some value from this one. And if you're curious about more stories of mine and advice of mine, which will be better and better in other videos, I promise, you can subscribe if you want to. You can like this video, and in the description, if you want to check out, I have a phenomenal course where I teach you how to become stronger and also faster and everything. Bye bye.